When I was a kid, our family had the Disney Channel, and there's one show in particular that always confused me. It was called Mousercise. It was an exercise show for kids, and it featured an aerobics instructor whose advice was always, "Now don't forget to breathe." That always confused me because breathing isn't something I have to remember to do. It's something that happens automatically. So what do you mean, don't forget to breathe? But then a few years ago, I started lifting weights. I know, you can tell. It was then that I learned exactly what she was talking about. You see, it's easy when you're lifting weights to get caught up in the exercise, to get so caught up in straining to lift that weight or complete that rep that you forget to breathe. And if you're not breathing regularly and deeply, it's not long before you run out of the strength and energy you need to finish the task. Find it interesting that in both the Old and New Testaments, in the original languages, the word for God's Spirit refers to breath or wind. I think it's God's way of reminding us that we need to breathe regularly and deeply of His presence. You see, we live our lives surrounded by air. Earth is blanketed in an atmosphere, and everywhere we go, there's air. But unless we are regularly taking that air into our lungs, allowing it to fill us, and then exhaling it back out, that air does us no good. If we're not breathing regularly and deeply, it's not long before we're out of breath, out of strength, and ultimately out of life. In the same way, it's God's Spirit at work in us that gives our souls life and energy. We are surrounded by God's Spirit. God's Spirit has been at work in our lives from the moment we were conceived, drawing us to Him and calling us to respond. But unless we regularly and deeply allow that Spirit to fill us and then respond back to Him, it will not be long before spiritually we're out of breath, out of strength, and ultimately out of life. That's why this year, in the season between Easter and Pentecost, from April 14th to May 26th, we're going to be learning about God's Spirit in a series we're calling Breathe. During this time, we'll be learning about who God's Spirit is, how God's Spirit works in us, and how we are called to respond. I hope during that time you'll become a regular visitor to this site. Every day we'll be posting devotions and prayer guides to help you dig deeper into the subject. And if you're in grades 6 through 12, I hope you'll join us on Tuesday nights at the Cove for worship and teaching on this subject. The Cove is the youth center of the Middletown Church of the Nazarene and is located on the corner of 5th and Mill Street in Middletown, Indiana. I really do hope that you will join us for this important series. And most importantly, don't forget to breathe.